The NBA is finally back. A new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards and grabbing rebounds? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make at DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. First time, new DraftKings customers bet $5 to get 200 in bonus bets instantly. Every points count with DraftKings Sportsbooks. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use Baseline. That's code Baseline, BASELINE, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Please play responsibly. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. Gerald Brown, another episode of Heavy in the Paint, and I'm going to get right to it because you know what? Taking these off, making sure that I'm going to use my third eye. What an unbelievable wrap-up of a World Series that we had. I'm a diehard Yankees fan through and through. I know you see Tampa Bay Buccaneers back there. Yes, the Memphis Tigers. College basketball season starts real soon. But through and through it all, I'm a baseball fan, right? Behind the NBA, definitely NFL, but definitely a lot of love for the MLB. And I say kudos to the LA Dodgers. Congratulations on winning the World Series, their 8th title. But also kudos to Major League Baseball. We had the best World Series, and the ratings showed that since 2017. You had the East Coast versus the West Coast. You had stars among stars. It was something that was worth watching each and every single game. And Major League Baseball hit a home run with this. Yes, it's great to see Goliath versus David or David versus Goliath on occasion. But we cannot afford to have World Series that turn into regional World Series. No disrespect to Arizona Diamondbacks or the Texas Rangers, but that's a regional World Series. What we had was the star of stars all on display, from Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, you name it, they were all there. And this is 2 of the highest payrolls in baseball, so you wanted them to do it and go for it all on the biggest and best stage of all. And kudos to Major League Baseball. I have no problems with that. Yes, my heart is broken because the Yankees lost, but I would love to see them be able, and I know that they'll hopefully have an opportunity to get back, as we say on the Bottom Line Sports Show every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sirius XM NBA Radio Channel 86. The fact is that, you know what, Juan Soto's got a difficult decision, but I'll give you a little insight, just in case he wants to hear about it. If you want to do and want to remain at the top of the heap, yes, entertaining all 30 teams, that's a great thing to say, and pretty much what your agent wants you to say to drive up the price. But here's the thing. You know, it's not too many places that you can really count on knowing that you're going to be in the World Series, or yet better yet, in the playoff hunt year in and year out. Yet the teams that you need to go to will have the resources. But here's what Juan Soto can do if he really wants to adore himself to an organization, preferably the New York Yankees. Do what Mookie Betts has done. Do what Shohei Ohtani has done. Defer most of your money. If you defer that money, if that is an option there, well, now that opens up different options for the Yankees to go out and get additional pieces. So now it becomes even more of a super team that you can rival the Los Angeles Dodgers. I believe the Dodgers and what they have been able to do with a lot of their players deferring their money is really open up an opportunity for teams to circumvent the luxury tax and get around on a lot of things and not losing a lot of star players. But nevertheless, the season is over. Major League Baseball, you hit a home run. Salute to the Dodgers as well as Major League Baseball. Now, in the NFL, let's be clear. What we're witnessing, granted, the Jets, Jets, Aaron Rodgers getting their third victory, all is well somewhat in Jetland, but there's a major, major problem. And better yet, it really shines the light on the fact of the matter is how great Tom Brady was, and his legacy continues to grow. Think about it this way. Brady goes to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Yes, they weren't, the cupboard wasn't bare, not at all. But you look at his team, young team that didn't know how to win. And essentially with the help of the great Bruce Arians, Jason Licht, and all the people in the front office for the Buccaneers, putting together a team that more importantly, you needed a leader. Leadership came into that place from the day Bruce Arians was there with Todd Bowles, and then trickled on down to the quarterback that needed to be the leader on the field, and that being Tom Brady. What Brady did with the Buccaneers in their first year and winning that championship, it automatically had buy-in from everybody that pretty much maybe doubted the Buccaneers bringing him in. Yours truly, I wasn't happy with the decision to bring him in because, again, retired players definitely love to go to Florida, especially as you get closer and closer to the retirement age. But nevertheless, you look at what Aaron Rodgers has done. There has been countless times that he has come up short in games. He has the talent. The Jets have bent over backwards and given him everything that essentially he needs to be successful. But yet the leadership quality will always be something that is called into question, especially throwing Mike Williams under the bus after the decision. He threw an interception. He ran the wrong route. That wasn't necessary at all. Now, granted, yes, winning cures all ills. And if you win, it's even a better way to control that locker room. And let's be honest, the Jets have a lot of issues. Who's going to be their head coach next year? I vote for Rex Ryan. You need somebody that has the personality to be able to manage New York media and the expectations. Also, if Rodgers as well as Davante Adams are going to be back in that locker room, they need a presence and an individual that will be able to add what Aaron Rodgers lacks in terms of his leadership. Maybe he doesn't have to be the rah-rah, sis-boom-bah guy, but his action speaks louder than words. But there are moments in time he's definitely going to need to put his team on his back. And thus far, it hasn't been that often. Moving along, the NBA. And what I'm hearing from my NBA sources, I can tell you right now, there's trouble in La La Land, or better yet, Milwaukee land. La La, you Milwaukee? Nevertheless, I flubbed it. But nevertheless, I'm hearing that Giannis Antetokounmpo, which has been no secret, has been advocating behind closed doors that he wants out of Milwaukee. Let's be clear. Before we point the finger and blame anybody, Milwaukee management and all this other stuff, I'm not going to do that. They did an unbelievable job trying to bring back Giannis, bring in all the pieces necessary to remain in the hunt for another NBA championship. But it's not Doc Rivers' fault at all. It's just apparently these pieces do not fit. You're talking about schemes and different systems. Whatever Doc has tried to do, it's not working. Now, will I say that, you know what? You shouldn't blame him? I'm going to take that back somewhat. You can blame him, but he doesn't get the lion's share of the blame. He should get a smaller portion of the blame. There's a lot of blame to go around. And mainly when you have to look at this team, it just seems like this is an old team that hasn't been able to keep up with this next era and generation of NBA players. Mainly, look at the Indiana Pacers and what they did to the Bucks last year in the playoffs. I know Giannis wasn't there pretty much for the entire time, but still in all, you expected this veteran-laden team be able to get it done. And then on top of that, the season is early. Still, well in, not even 10 games yet. But let's just keep this in mind. Dame Lillard has not looked like Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard of old has pretty much looked like an old Dame Lillard. And then when you look at the contract and next year's salary, going from somewhere to 50 to 58 million, almost to 60 million in the next 2 years, that's a high price tag for potentially a point guard on the downside of his career. So at the end of the day, Milwaukee, they're going to look to try to move a lot of those pieces and press the reset button. How will that look? Definitely moving Giannis, definitely moving Dame, and then start the fire sale to sit back, recoup what they have, recoup the draft picks, and hopefully start over. Now, Dame as well as Giannis won't be the first guys, the only two guys that are on that market come trade deadline. Jimmy Butler, pretty much his welcome has been worn out in Miami, from what I'm being told by my NBA sources. Listen, that organization, from the governor, Mickey Arison, to the president of the organization, Pat Riley, it's Pat Riley's way and only way. And the way they run things down there, heat culture. Look, Pat Riley doesn't stand for a lot. And if you're not producing, that's a different story. Now, they'll use this sort of proverbial trade deadline to see where this team lands. But I can tell you this, it's going to be a very, very daunting task for Jimmy Butler to get the extension and the max deal that he seeks in Miami. I don't see that happening. And it's very interesting. And all of a sudden now we're hearing about the Golden State Warriors potentially interested in Jimmy Butler. Look for him to be out on that market as well. And then last but definitely not least, I've talked to several people, once again, my NBA sources, and they're saying clearly this is just a roadmap of what's happening in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid not really wanting to play the early stages of the season after playing in the Olympics, all of a sudden saying he gets his contract extension, letting it be known publicly he's not going to be playing back-to-backs for the rest of his career. Then, oh, by the way, he's not ready to start off the season. Translation, he is not in shape. He has no interest in playing, and he's laying it down for a small portion of the season. Now, granted, a lot of people will say, oh, you want him to be as 100% as possible come the NBA playoffs, but they got to get there. And it just so happens not only that's happening, but then you have Paul George, who's dealing with that knee injury. They're not off to a great start. And then Joel Embiid, to make matters worse, pretty much criticizes the city of Philadelphia, a city that once threw snowballs at Santa Claus, booed Santa Claus, you name it, city of brotherly love. He has basically turned around and said, how dare you criticize me with my injuries and all that I've done for the city of Philadelphia? Well, newsflash, Joel Embiid, what have you done? The Sixers have not been anywhere near an NBA championship, let alone an Eastern Conference Finals. You haven't done anything. All that's happening right now is, once again, Embiid is trying to set himself up to be the victim. Doesn't it sound very similar to what happened with Ben Simmons? And then all of a sudden Simmons said that he wanted out. Well, it just so happened that he got his money. Embiid has got his money. Now the biggest question will be, when will he return, and what type of shape, what type of conditioning, and what type of game will he bring to the table? Because I can tell you right now, he has not made any new fans in Philadelphia with his play, but more or less with his mouth. And that will be a big question. Again, it's still early. Speaking about still early, Cleveland Cavaliers, Orlando Magic. Orlando's young. They're going to be without their star, Paolo Banchero, who's going to be out for some time with that oblique injury and stuff, speedy recovery. But the Cleveland Cavaliers have gotten off to an unbelievable start. Here's the reason why I do not believe in that start that they've had. The way that they are playing, in which Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland have been their primary scorers, really just continues to show that this team is once again finesse, a team that can be very passive. And I still think about how they were manhandled a couple of years back by the New York Knicks. In order for the Cleveland Cavaliers, in my humble opinion, to be in a situation to even think about being a perennial championship contending team, Evan Mobley is going to have to be the main focal point of the Cavaliers offense, because that at least will show that this team is hopefully being aggressive. Mobley is being able to take that team and put him on his back. And now, instead of those guys in the team, the Cavs, playing through Mitchell and Garland, they'll play through Evan Mobley and have them in a situation now that potentially can change the sort of the opinion and the, if you will, the perception of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last but definitely not least, early on, Oklahoma City Thunder haven't gotten a lot of attention. Oh, by the way, just taking care of their business, minus a few players and Jalen Williams, as well as Isaiah Hartenstein. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a guy that I thought clearly should have been the MVP last year, all that they have done is gotten off to a fast start. And this is a team with adding Alex Caruso, Luke Dort, defensive-minded team, have the scoring, and then Chet Holmgren with another year under his belt. This team will only get better. Once they get Isaiah Hartenstein, Williams back, this team will be definitely a problem in that Western Conference. And then, you know what? I'm putting them at the top of the heap. And I think this perhaps maybe time to say c'est la vie to the Denver Nuggets. You know what? That window of opportunity, slowly but surely, looks like it's closing. And yes, it's still early. It's not even 10 games. But it's the way they're losing, the way that they're playing. It seems apparent is back to being Nikola Jokic and everyone else. Jamal Murray got his money. He's been dealing with some injuries, most recently with a concussion. It's going to be really interesting to see who will be that next player that step up. Aaron Gordon, whomever, can they get it done? But right now it seems like their arch enemy and their nemesis is the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's for Heavy in the Paint. I'm Gerald Brown. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Peace.